Okay, so welcome everyone to the second community call for chained metrics. Really excited about a lot of the progress that we made over the course of the last week and want to share that with this group. For many of you on the call, I don't think that this will necessarily be anything new because we are trying to keep everyone updated within the Discord as best as possible. But we do want to make sure that we can have this an opportunity to share what some of the development team's doing. A lot of the power users are on this call to provide feedback, and then just record it for anybody that's not able to make this call and be able to follow along at another time of what we're working on. So want to keep it relatively short and sweet this week. For the agenda, we're going to go over some of the new KPIs that have been added, as well as upcoming earnings for this coming week. It's going to be a short week with the holiday next week in terms of markets open and names that are reporting. But wanted to go over this just to keep front of mind that we are trying to make fundamental analysis easier and being able to monetize a beat or a miss, or your modeling or your understanding of the valuation of the equity or any financial asset easier. So I want to make sure we're aware of the KPIs that we're actually forecasting. So we're going to start with that. After that, we're going to pass it over hopefully to Darth Maul. I'm assuming he's on the call. It's going to share some of the work that we're doing with the UI Refactor with the expectation that we're going to send that out to tomorrow into prod. So excited for a lot of the design around that, and the feedback that we've gotten so far has been great. I'm excited to get it in a lot of you guys' hands starting tomorrow. And then I think also we had some really good discussion on the Discord with Johnny24 around the cold start problem. I think Andrew Chen's book is doing a great job of creating frameworks around thinking about network effects and creating operating models that can optimize the network as best as possible. And I think whenever you're creating a market, it inherently has network effects that are at the core of what we're trying to build. So I want to make sure that we're doing the best that we can there. Quick discussion around feature prioritization that we're looking at for this week. If we get a chance, touching a little bit on roadmap and white paper and going on from there. Also want this to be collaborative. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to interrupt and ask anything that you have of me or the rest of the developer team. Before we go any further, I just want to make sure, Darth Maul, you're on the call, right? While he's coming in, let's go over like a quick set of some of the KPIs that we have coming up this week. We have Carnival, HR Block, Nike, Micron, reporting on Monday, and you can see some of the KPIs that we're currently allowing investors to be able to trade on. Ticket revenue, onboard revenue, total revenue, number of ships within Carnival fleet, and then you can see the rest of the KPIs right here. If you look like left to right, we want to start using this as a weekly social post that we're going to be touching on a little bit later in the social strategy, but we need to like revamp and think about how we're engaging traders and people within the space and creating content that, one, is relevant to them, but also can help bring them back into the chain metrics platform. If you've noticed any of the stuff that we've put onto the Twitter or the Instagram, any of the stuff that's going on to the YouTube or the other channels, that we're trying to like revamp and rethink how we're thinking about the social. We did add around 130 new KPIs this week. And so we are going quite wide in terms of what's available, but I think we're still missing the mark in being able to go deep on any one of them. And I think we're going to touch on that in the cold start problem. Just wanted to give a really quick flash around like what's coming up in terms of earnings this week and what's available within chain metrics to trade today. Next, in terms of the agenda, I wanted to go through a bit of the redesign work that Darth Maul and like the rest of the team have really been going deep on. And I was planning on passing it over to have Darth Maul share a screen. Are you on the call right now?
I'm just going to pick up from where we left off and just give you a very brief overview of what the new homepage looks like. So we changed to a new like card-like feature, so you can kind of see all of the most recent markets that are available. You can fuzzy search by symbol, by like different metrics, things of that sort. And if you click into one, it'll screen. So what I'll do is I want to just show you like what the old screen looked like. So let me just go to a snap for paragraphs. So the old screen that you're kind of used to seeing now kind of has this look and feel. So we kind of took a lot of the same cues from that and just probably rearranged things, restyled a few things, and actually added in historical data here for the historical performances section. So what that looks like now is this guy, right? So same market. We have this new order entry screen where you will click beat and miss. If you saw last week's presentation, you can see that we made some changes here also as well. There was like a live price. You could click on to snap to the price. Feedback we got that was a little confusing, so we iterated very quickly and just like got rid of that, and we came up with this final screen where you can just tick to select your price, tick up and down to select your quantity, and then once you pass like all validations, you'll be able to like place an order, right? So that flow for the most part stays the same. So for the most part here, you just like click on place a beat order, and for this example, hit confirm. Then I'll go through the flow. You'll see MetaMask pop up. Click confirm. That'll take you to the next steps. Right now, we're waiting for my transfer confirmation. There's a ticker time here that lets you know what the progress of that is. So let's let that spin for a little bit, and then we'll be able to kind of finally submit the order. If it takes a little more time than planned, I'll just close this out and continue with the demo of the new screen. But I kind of wanted to show you what a end-to-end flow looks like, and hopefully the demo gremlins or bugs or whatever gods aren't here, so this thing just works end to end. Because things work until you demo, then they start to break. But so far so good. So here's MetaMask again. Let's go ahead and confirm that transaction. Boom. So now the order is submitted successfully. We're waiting for one more final confirmation that was actually received. So we'll let that spin for a little bit, and then we should see a final confirmation, and then we should hopefully see our orders pop up in the open order section. Then I'll go through the rest of the rest of the flow on this page, including some new faucets we have for for Matic that will be potentially going on Monday as well. So we kind of like Michael and I tactically rolled that functionality right before this demo. So let you know that we're always constantly working on improving and building on this application. So there's like literally 24-hour developments. Here we go. So boom, you see right here, orders confirmed, everything went through. As you can see here in the new open order screen, we have a live update with that information. The summary is here. If I wanted to cancel this, I can click cancel and go ahead. I'm not going to cancel it for now, but kind of get the idea. You see also too, the order book is also updated with this information. Everything you see on the older screen, like the ability to see what your current positions are, ability to exercise your tokens, additional information. You can see the B token, copy the address to your clipboard, or click on a link to have it open up in Etherscan, right? So a lot of that same functionality that and hopefully love, or are just used to from the old system, is all here, just skinned a little differently, and it's just been reworked to kind of make it feel a little bit more like a professional trading platform you would see at a firm that like Michael and I have worked at previously, right? So like think big hedge funds, investment banks, and high frequency trading firms. We're taking our experience there and bringing that over to the crypto space in this particular predictive market implementation we're working on. So things here with this performance chart. So right now you're currently just seeing the historical stock price, so the close basically. The idea here is that we'll be able to add more metrics, and you'll have a drop down where you can actually like select what you want to see, and this chart would dynamically update that information. You could zoom in and scrub to see whatever you see. You will probably add unit size. There's also some quick filters, or go back to everything year to date. You also can like manipulate. So like if you want to see like what the market is doing as far as like who's buying beats and misses across the board for the particular market you're looking at, we'll be able to populate this. So that's in the queue for development work for this next sprint, as high priority to try to get it in. So hopefully next demo you'll be able to see that here. But we just rolled like literally minutes before we jumped on this call, is that we are working on a new Matic Faucet. So a pain point that we received from users was that it was difficult to get Matic and get symmetric, especially if you're new to working with dApps, and like MetaMask is new to you, going to a faucet is new to you, and you have to like go to a third-party site and go through their flow and follow different directions and come back to our site. So we figure from a usability standpoint, it may be beneficial if we actually just roll this stuff into our site itself. So we just set up our own Matic Faucet where you can just click on this guy right here, and you'll be able to get, like half a Matic token that'll cover all of the gas fees for interacting on the platform. So we'll basically every day You can go back and get pretty much half a Matic, and be able to use it towards performing actions on the chain metrics marketplace. So so the smart contract is already written, deployed. We have this tied up here in the UI. So I'm going to be wrapping up the last bit of the UI work to get that out. But you guys should be able to see this on Monday once we have the new release for the brand new chain metrics site. And then for those who are seeing the new site for the first time, I'll just do a very quick, overview. So here's a new homepage. Idea with the homepage is that you can see the markets from the start. You can just like go here and just start searching away for whatever you want to see. You can click into an item and it'll take you to the trade screen, see all the performance information, the order book for that item, the live market trades, your open orders, and you'll be able to exercise your tokens and see additional information here in the additional information pane, right? So I kind of showed how you can actually copy the B token address and the MIS token address, or, click on a link to see it load an Etherscan for you automatically. Also, the same thing with your portfolio. As you have your portfolio, you'll have the new portfolio screen. Right now, mine is empty. I don't have anything, but as you have actual live positions, they just will populate with that information, and you can action like cancel, things of that sort. You'll be able to do there. Just to give you more idea with the look and feel, you can see that, we kind of like reskinned everything right down to like our about pages, the blog. Everything has pretty much been redone like top to bottom. The next step is this tutorials page. We're going to make this look like more like a YouTube kind of setup where you can like go through this in steps. So look for that coming out next. Then also the team page is also being worked on. So you'll see our bios, get to know who we are, see our social media links, all that good stuff is pretty much in the works. And then what you're seeing here is going to be released tomorrow. Also, you have like this banner at the top that shows you your C metric, your open positions, and available cash. All that would be there. Then we also have the ability to switch between light and dark themes. So if like dark is your preference, you can actually toggle between the two by just clicking on this toggle here at the top. So that's like a very high level overview of what the site looks like. So the functionality is pretty much the same. You have a few new features here on the trade screen where you can see like live performance, and you can see orders updated in real time. We're going to be bringing to you also live market trades as well. There's a slightly different change to look and feel of how the beat and miss order entry form works, but it's pretty much the same way, just looks a little bit different. And it's just made to be a little more user-friendly for you than the original version. And then also coming into this release will be the ability to get Matic from us through our own self-hosted Matic Faucet that's integrated into the chain metric site. So that's about all I have here. So I guess I'll turn it over to Michael. Unless there's any questions for me at this point as far as what's next in the UI roadmap, and also we can also use this time now to field any user requests and receive feedback on what we could potentially do better and what we're doing right. Because again, the idea is to have the community drive this development forward, right? As we continue to build what we want to be world-class trading software within a predictive market space in this particular domain for KPIs. So feel free to speak now or forever hold your peace. And don't be shy.
Just that I like the new UX here, so exciting to see it come out.
Thank you. We worked very hard on this, and worked some magic, and had a little bit of luck to try to get out to you guys as quickly as possible. So all this was done in like less than a month, as far as conceptualization, engineering, development efforts to get it out there as quickly as possible. So we like to be a very nimble team that moves quickly and responds to user feedback and get things out sooner rather than later. So hopefully we can set that precedent with you guys now with this total redesign.
Perfect. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Okay, so one of the things that I want to touch on, and I think Johnny24 did a really good job of highlighting some of the areas that we need to focus on, and that's some of the frameworks around the cold start problem that I think are like not unique to us, that we should be focusing on. And having like an action plan of things to do to address areas that we currently have gaps. And I think that the first one is avoid the zero scenarios where people are excited about chain metrics. They like the idea of being able to trade KPIs or trade on data in general. And they go to the site and they just can't accomplish what they came to do, and try to eliminate that experience as much as possible to keep people coming back. After, and Jamal touched on it, like after doing multiple user interviews and like walking people through onboarding, the biggest problem thus far, because we are native blockchain application, is new users getting the native token of Polygon into their wallet and interacting with the blockchain. So getting not C-metric, but getting Matic is, from our experiences, the single hardest problem that most new users have had. And we want to solve that by just giving them 50 cents to $1 worth of Matic when you sign up. The problems aren't around the money, it's around the jumps and hops across chains that users have to go through, especially users that are only familiar with a CEX, a centralized exchange. Because you can't offload your Matic on Coinbase, Gemini, or other commonly traded retail applications onto Polygon. So we just want to give you 50 cents worth of Matic for free. We do think that'll be a really good hook of getting new users onto the platform. Because if it only costs us 50 cents to allow somebody to get excited about joining Chained Metrics and actually start using the platform, I think that's an awesome investment. So Jamal, or Darthmal, really quickly gave an overview of what we're putting out there for the faucet, and excited to kind of get that out there. But next, right now we're not capturing the right metrics on the user journey from when they land on Chained Metrics to when they actually go in, get C-metric, and then put in their first trades. So we're revamping like how we're just doing usage data and capturing the user journey as they go through the application this week. So we can at least identify where our gaps are right now, to an extent where we have all of their on-chain information in terms of interactions with the address and the smart contract, but we don't have anything more than that. And we can't be driving blind right now. At the same time, helping with user onboarding. So we've got some great community participation with PAYX, giving us a big hand with revamping the Discord and making sure that that is a place where anyone that wants to engage with the community can do so and be able to get the information they need to be successful. So he's going through that right now and has some really good experience with managing large-scale Discord environments before. So really appreciate his effort there. Obviously, the UI refactor is geared towards usability, and that includes updating the FAQ and blog is with the updated UI, just to get more information on how you can interact with Chain Metrics more effectively. Again, that's not everything that needs to be done. There's a ton of that we can do around usability, but that's where we're starting from. We at least have a plan, and we're trying to execute on that. And any other feedback that we can get from the people on this call around usability or anything that they're experiencing, especially early on when starting to trade this new type of instruments, is really helpful. So again, like any feedback that you have of problems that we're not capturing that you're experiencing, I really encourage everyone to share those within Discord. Next, an obvious problem is liquidity. And if somebody's willing to take one side of a trade, who's willing to take the other side? Because right now everything is fully collateralized, and somebody, whether it's another person on the platform or like a more systematic market maker, there needs to be liquidity on the other side. So to start with, because at least the markets right now are within C-metric, there's no reason why any of the markets that we're trying to promote don't have liquidity on both sides with C-metric from us doing that ourselves. So our plan is to start eating our own dog food when it comes to market making and starting to do our own market making on our end as the issuers of C-metric. And lastly, I do think, and we've talked about this since the beginning, that the scalar markets could help significantly within providing liquidity. It allows a trader to go into a KPI market and not either get a full payout or no payout. Instead, you're paid out relative to how accurately you were able to forecast, and not having a scenario where you interact in the market, You were close, but not close enough because you were just on the wrong side of the strike value, and you lose everything. So by allowing for scalar markets, it allows for easier market making, where you can just enter in your forecasted value for a given KPI and then get a assumed beat and miss price and allow you to trade either side depending on where the market's trading at, but not getting completely run over if you happen to be wrong. So we're excited about how scalar markets can help with liquidity. Again, there's more that we can do there, but we're starting with eating our own dog food and being our own liquidity providers, and also with scalar markets as well. And lastly, I think this is a really good one. This could be a bit of a blind, or could have been a bit of a blind side. That's going deep versus broad. What we've done is we've tried to get as many of the reporting names as possible available on the Chain Metrics site with the top 3 KPIs, but that really dilutes a lot of the liquidity on Chain Metrics to go very wide, but it also dilutes the developer team focus as well as the marketing focus. So what we want to do going into Q4 2021, opposed to going as wide as we have, we want to really narrow down focus onto what are 4 really important thematic KPIs for 4 separate tickers that we want to focus on and just promote the shit out of them. The majority of our social posts need to be going to these 4 KPIs. If we're posting stuff on the blog, it needs to be associated to some thematic story around these 4 KPIs, and making sure that we have both liquidity as well as high quality content around them. And we could always have then plenty of other KPIs that somebody could come on and trade. But we really need to focus that we need to prove to ourselves that we at least have the ability to generate liquidity, usage, and adoption with at least 4 KPIs coming out of Q4 2021 earnings that's coming up. So I think that is a really good takeaway, I think, for us in terms of what we're using from the social side, as well as how we're thinking about trying to get more liquidity and solving the previous 2. For anyone that has seen, we are starting to get a lot more active. Nick, Spartan, and Sach Hodl and also CapEx are starting to get really involved in the marketing strategy there. We do have all of the social accounts linked up in a systematic process to start deploying content. And we haven't made any progress on it this week, but we have made our first couple NFTs associated to the GME earnings call last week, and want to make sure that at least for these 4 KPIs that we're focusing on, anyone that trades them, and more importantly, anyone that trades them and is on the right side of the binary markets, alongside of getting the C-metric payout, will also get custom early adopter NFTs as well that we'll be minting through the OpenSea Chain Metrics collection that currently exists. But I think this is an area that we need to make sure that we're getting right, because this will kill us before we even get started. And we can only say we're new and in beta and early stages for so long before we actually have to start producing. And so making sure that we figure out this cold start, we go from absolutely nothing and just an idea into a product that people are using, and getting that right is critical. So one, I just want to call and thanks Johnny24 for putting together a really thoughtful post on the Discord on that. I thought it was really thought provoking. I was messaging people across the board saying hey, this guy really he's putting thought into it, and he's actually helping engage us. So I think that is an awesome example of engaging with the team, but also just I want to say thanks for you obviously put some thought into that. Otherwise you wouldn't have written so much. So Colin, thank you.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Okay, cool. Thanks. No problem at all. I enjoy doing it. I think it's pretty cool what we're doing. And I think the other thing to think about is the atomic network, and I'm getting a little bit of feedback, so sorry about that. I don't know if everybody else is hearing that, but who are the kind of focused people that we're trying to go after? Is it the Reddit traders and the meme stock guys, or is it institutional traders? Who are the ideal people to really initially interact with this network?
From my perspective, I'm honestly willing for anyone and everyone, but I do think you nailed the two primary target markets. One is the retail traders that are like, they have skin in the game for how these companies are going to report. They're generally looking at more shorter term time horizons where earnings is going to have a very large impact, and using these KPIs to be able to hedge out or get idiosyncratic exposure to names is like a useful thing, especially if they can do it in a point and click interface. I do think that there is long-term opportunities within the institutional space, but I think that given we are to an extent like blockchain native, that's going to be something that's going to take a little bit more time. I do think that like in terms of like a lot of the early adopters, I think part of it's a function of how we've marketed so far, but also like where I think it's really interesting is anybody that's in a data science like role that is involved in the alternative data space or fundamental or like the quantamental, anybody that's involved in quantamental investing within the equity space, I think is a really, really interesting use case because like this is their bread and butter. So not necessarily the broader institutional investor space, but like very niche to start on anyone that's doing quantamental forecasting. So that goes from sell side, some of your alt data space, or anyone that is doing quantamental investing, primarily more at smaller shops that might have a little bit more flexibility in terms of what their mandate is. So so my primary focus is on the retail side that are trading earnings, as well as anybody on the quantamental side, whether they're institutional or whether they're on the buy side or the sell side.
Cool.
What are your thoughts on that? Like that was like, does that for you seem like that's the right target audience?
When I saw this originally, I thought the meme stock traders would love it. Another way to kind of spend their money and gamble a little bit. But also, I'd spent a lot of time in my career on the traditional sell side. And there's a lot of regulatory issues around you're not allowed to buy or sell any stocks. And so this is another way to kind of engage with the stocks you're covering. So yeah, I think it's a pretty cool opportunity to stay involved. And I think there's the key is going to be that atomic network. That's using the framework that book lays out. Who are the first 100 people going to be that really stay engaged and become your power users? And the second is to avoid the zeros, which you guys have talked a lot about, which is make that initial first 30 seconds to a minute you're on the site just a great experience. Really easy to understand, easy to enter, easy to engage, easy to place bets or place your put your tokens on what you want to put your tokens on. Find liquidity. Don't get into a situation where you have you want to place a trade and you can't because there's not the other side. So those sorts of things I think are going to be really important right out of the gate. You want everybody who shows up to have a great experience and tell all their friends.
You're 100%. I think I couldn't have said it better. So that's what we're focusing on. I want to make sure that if there's anything that we're missing along those lines, like Discord, reach out, because you guys are definitely the people that are helping making this possible. And I want to make sure that like you guys are like right now the only way to get C-metric is via the Faucet. But like I definitely want to make sure like as you guys are engaging, especially in these early calls, that it's something that like you guys have you're getting also like exposure to the success of the platform by getting C-metric token as well. So love the feedback. Hopefully we're trying to solve the right problems early on and just keep staying engaged and just want to thanks for any of the feedback there.
Yeah,
anyone else that like anything in terms of like what we just went over regarding tactical and operational things that we can do to increase like the product so that it makes engagement better, or in terms of like target audiences that we should be going after. Is there anything that like any blind spots that it seems like we have right now that we're not touching on for anyone on this call?
Yeah, I think one, oh yeah, there's a bit of an echo again, I hear that. But the, I'm gonna go on,
No, but I just want to
turn my
mute.
audio off so I can hear that even better. I think looking at the mirror finance growth is a good case study as well. Just seeing the amount of TVL they've been able to grow to for something that's kind of at this intersection of Web3 and then also traditional financial markets. Launched in December of last year and now are a pretty meaningful synthetic platform. One of the big things that comes to mind immediately from that is asking the question, how do you incentivize people across the community to actually provide the liquidity? And then that'll help you scale up more meaningfully so that you can boost trading volumes. I do agree it'll have to be retail to start just from a regulatory perspective, but I think where the project gets really big is when you start to see more institutional traders use this as more complex financial instruments.
Yeah, no, I love that in terms of what can we do to get the, I'm just repeating your words verbatim. What can we do to get the community to be incentivized to provide more liquidity? And I think that needs to very quickly become the focus. Sach Hodl is on the line, and right now we're working closely on what is the underlying value proposition and capture of the C metric token. And they're planning on having a white paper that we release that captures that. And I think if we nail that right and we have the right value capture associated with C metric token, and then we use that as a incentive mechanism for early liquidity providers, that is our hope of how we could actually like get more TVL on the platform. But we're still pending the release of what the C metric white paper is.
I'd like to add that I'll be adding all these metrics calculations associated with like the C metric like position. So ultimately, when we speak with PCs, we'll use that liquidity.
I've got you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, Johnny, we can. I think Sach Hodl, I think
Okay.
we lost you for a little bit, but yeah, Johnny, we could hear you.
Okay. Yeah. Whatever happened, I fixed that feedback. So anyway, another question I had was, when is the dev user interface going to go live? Is that this week?
Mañana.
Okay, great. And then what's the communication chain then? If so, for example, Nike is reporting this week. I've placed a beat bet out there. How would that get communicated to me? So Nike reports, I think tomorrow. How would that feedback loop go if say they do beat or miss? Like, is that pushed at me via email? Is there some sort of a notification that the event occurred and I need to visit the site and see what's happened? How does that feedback loop happen?
Great question. Right now, you would go to the site and see what the outcome of the event was. We don't right now have an active email or push notification to you that event has occurred and what side of the trade you're on. Now, that doesn't mean we can't. I think that's actually a great opportunity to engage you and remind you that, like, hey, you had a position on, they just reported, you either lost or made money. But currently we don't. We're expecting you to go back to the site after the print.
Okay.
So I have a question about that, right? So how can we improve that user experience, right? So like, for example, would a total notification work? Would you want to see a separate notification page or panel? So maybe when when expiration date hits or like everything is in motion, maybe you get a toast wherever page you're on the site. And if you want to see all your notifications, maybe you're not on the site and you want to see a summary of what happened, you can actually view it there. And then maybe we can probably set up some kind of email push notifications or SMS through video or something like that. Like, what would you like to see as part of your ideal experience? Like, what would work for you?
I personally prefer for email, but if it'd be cool if you had some options. How SMS, email, maybe throw it on disc. Maybe I prefer to get a DM on Discord or something along those lines. It'd be cool to have the option. Then maybe create some sort of a scoreboard. I know the KPR portfolio doesn't seem to be, at least on the current public profile, doesn't seem to be working quite yet. I'm just trying to think of the best way to keep the people who have made the bets engaged. So if I have something on Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday this week that I've placed bets on, I should be getting, because those notifications typically will come out pre-market. So at 7 a.m. Eastern, Nike will release earnings, or maybe it's an after hours earnings. But as soon as it hits, in theory, we know the answer, and so the result should be pushed to everybody who's placed a bet on that KPI and say, you won, you lost. Here's the click here to come to the site and close the bet, or roll it over, or do whatever you're going to do, but stay engaged with the community and make it almost gamify it a little bit. That's your opportunity to say congratulations, make it exciting, show them a scoreboard that you're number one on the day or something like that. I think that's your opportunity to get people come back to the site and keep coming back. Hey, here's who's reporting next. You won, like Adidas reports, or whoever's reporting next. Keep coming back, keep coming back, keep coming back.
I like that. We could, because right now when somebody enters in a trade, we have like the address. We don't necessarily have the SMS or the email, but we could get that. Like we could have a, do you want to subscribe to your trades opt-in? And if they do, then we associate any email you want to give us with an address. And then we could just go through all the people that have subscribed for notifications to either get like a Discord, a SMS, or an email that basically summarizes all of their positions and gives an update whenever there's a significant new event, a price change, or an announcement that just summarizes their overall a portfolio summarization, like an end-of-day portfolio summarization. I love that because I would always have like anyone that has like a coverage or like a given portfolio, you have your watch list, and then you're getting notifications on top of that watch list to stay up to date. I think it'd be kind of even cool if somebody's like, yeah, I actually don't want to trade anything, but I at least want to know whenever there's interesting trades that are going on in this platform to be able to get notified right away. And I think that's one of the types of models that aren't necessarily treating chain metrics as a marketplace, but more so like an analytical tool that people that are interested, either because their portfolio has exposure directly on the platform, or they maybe have an equity exposure and they want to know what's going on in the underlying product, or like what's going on in the KPI marketplace for this. I love that.
And it gives you a chance to reach back out every 90 days and say, last quarter you bet on Nike, you beat it, you won. They report again next week. Come back to the site and do this. And I know as a former sell side guy, in the 12 names or 15 names you cover, once this site has 50,000 people making bets, you'd want to know if everybody's taking the over on Nike.
Oh, totally, 100%.
That's another data point.
For institution, I think when it comes to getting institutional involvement, having that product that you don't even need to trade anything on the platform. You just go to the site and you say like, hey, I want to sign up for notifications on this coverage space whenever there's a significant move or trade on the platform, as well as like just updates. And that could be something that's free initially, and then that could be something that's more of like a paid for product as well, if we ever wanted to like monetize like the analytics on top of this. But I think what you just said right there, that's the hook for the initial segue into institutions.
Yeah, it's like a Marshall Wace model almost, where Marshall Wace just takes all the sell side analysts inputs and quantitatively makes bets based on that.
Totally. Like basically that's a general alpha capture strategy where you get third parties submit your alphas, whether that's sell side estimates or otherwise, and then you construct that into portfolio. Ideally, then you give back some of the returns back to the alpha providers. Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that. So it's actually I like that idea. Like let's send some cycles at kind of what that would look like. Um, if you have anything that you could think of in terms of like simple, what would like an MVP set of features, Johnny? I'd love to hear what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I can throw them on Discord. I'll get some
Awesome.
thought.
Does anybody else have like an incredible idea like that you want to throw out there? Because I think that was something that we hadn't thought of, but I think that that was good. All right. So I guess with that, we're already running a little bit over. I am going to share this on the screen. We will send updates this week on the UI that should be going out tomorrow, which hopefully will include the Matic Faucet that will hopefully eliminate the single biggest friction point that we currently have with new user onboarding. And then we'll hopefully have the right metrics to capture what's going to come next, and we just keep chopping wood and knocking them down and build something that can really change the way that information gets priced into finance for a long time ahead. So thanks everyone for the community call. I really appreciate your time, and have a great rest of your weekend.
You guys.